Hello, I'm Marwen for Team the Asclepians. This is a progress update we share with you at the end of Sprint 6 of our project, Pre-Populated Patient Intake Forms. Our objectives for Sprint 6 are three. First, to implement the backend services. These are written in Python. Second, to implement the front end. These are a bunch of React.js components. Third, to update the app using our mentor's feedback. We have updated our wireframes to offer a patient-only workflow, hence drop in the care provider workflow. Apart from this, there are no changes to the wireframes. We still have a patient information section, a medical history section, a section for the medications, and a section for the allergies and surgical history, and another section for health habits and social habits, and another section for family medical history, as well as a few questions about the visit. Now, for the project timelines, I will cover Sprint 6 in the next slide. For Sprint 6, we will focus on implementing the post-put APIs as well as the UI. We will also focus on updating the documentation and on testing. For Sprint 8, we will do any remaining cleanup and polishing and prepare for the last deliverables. Now, going back to Sprint 6, we have mainly focused on two areas, the UI and the backend. For the UI, we've added a dummy consent form. We've also developed the patient info component, as well as the appointment component and the medical history component. Additionally, the medication, allergies, and family medical history components are in progress. For the backend, so far we have a Hello World API, as well as a patient info API and an active medication list API. These are all implemented. For the drug allergies, the medical conditions, and the family medical habits APIs, the family medical history and the habit APIs, they are all in progress. From a deployment perspective, we have been at this point actively developing and deploying automatically to the HTAP server. Finally, some update about our technology stack. We have dropped the need to, for the front end, there are no changes. For the back end, also there are no changes, but we have dropped our initial requirement or our initial architecture, which expects an additional layer, which is the database. Instead, we're going to be writing directly to the Fire server.
Now that you've heard what we've been doing these past few weeks, I'll give you a quick run through of some of the results. As you can see here, this is our launch screen, which you can reach by clicking on the link in this PowerPoint slide here. Later on, I'll give you a live demonstration of the website in action. The initial launch screen doesn't bring up a patient, but if you type in a patient ID and hit submit, pulls back the patient's information. You can see here, this is Pock Abbott, lives at 902 Barley Harbor, etc. Pulls down all of the information. We'll also pull back his medical history where it's available, but we don't have any medical history for this patient yet, so we don't see anything there. Vision here of the server running behind the scenes. This is on our Linux box where the local host is. receiving GET requests, as it were, and going out to synthetic mask-based DSTU3 on the Georgia Tech Fire server. We have implemented the consent form and the code behind it, but we have not pushed it forward into production changes yet, so you'll soon see this. This is the standard Latin lorem ipsum form, which just means that we haven't filled it in with the language that we want to use. In addition to the live screens, I'll show you some of the JSON behind our API calls. This is coming out of our Python server. You can see the index screen. The initial screen has the hello world message. We have a patient's API. When you navigate to that address, you get a list of all the patients which satisfy certain criteria. In our case, we are we're pulling in pediatric patients, gives us a list of about 40 patients or so with these extensive IDs here. There's our first one, POC Abbott, as we mentioned. We also have a individual patient retrieval. When we put the patient number after the API patient call, you can see we're working off the local host here. We get back the specific information that's being used by the screen to populate the opening screen. And we have a medications API working where you can pull back a patient's medications, and not too many patients have medications, but some of them do. This one has been taking penicillin, 5 potassium, 250 milligrams for his streptococcal sore throat. We are the Asclepians, and I will follow this up with a brief overview of the website in action. Small demonstration of the app in action. I've already loaded the screen here. This is our initial screen, and I've saved the patient in the buffer. And you can see when we hit submit, it pulls back the patient information, including address, phone number, and it would also pull back the medical history, but we don't have a medical history on this patient yet. Once again, we are the Asclepians project team. Special thanks to our mentor, Ellie Shivers. Thank you for watching.